Hello and welcome to ET Inside, where we get you a 360-degree view of the big picture in business and economy. I am Sridharan Ramakrishnan. On the show today, what makes surrogacy India's next billion-dollar industry? Why renting a womb isn't as simple as it sounds? And why India needs to regulate this industry fast. Our top story first. India's medical tourism is expected to touch $2 billion in the next 2 years, all thanks to cheap medical care and access to highly qualified doctors. So what you have is people from all over the world coming to India for just about everything, from basic medical checkup to complex surgeries to now even renting of wombs. Surrogacy or renting of wombs has become a major industry ever since it was legalized in 2002. Asha Gopalakrishnan gets you a detailed report on a buzzing industry that few want to talk about.
At first glance, it's just another day at a fertility clinic for 27-year-old Diksha, who has recently delivered a baby boy. But she's no ordinary young mother. The child she just delivered was that of a Japanese couple who had rented her womb for 3,75,000 rupees. It's not a fortune, but it's money enough to bring happiness into her lower middle-class family in Anand, otherwise best known for its milk cooperative.
मेरे हस्बैंड भी खुश है, मैं भी, हम लोग सब हैप्पी फैमिली, अभी बहुत अच्छा है।
440 kilometers away, a 25-year-old woman, whom we shall call Shanti, is 4 months pregnant and has a similar tale to tell. A single mother of two, Shanti has rented her womb for 2.5 lakh rupees.
मेरे बच्चों के लिए अभी छोटे, कल को बड़े होंगे तो फिर उनको भी पढ़ाई वढ़ाई के लिए खर्चा लगता है, तो सोच के फिर मैंने सरोगेट का ये किया।
Reasons could vary, but it's this section of underprivileged women that is shaping India's surrogacy industry. Yes, industry. It's a business that reportedly generated $445 million in revenue last year, but is growing at an impressive annual rate of about 30%. Almost all clients of surrogate mothers are foreigners who flock to India because fertility-related treatments and the eventual option of surrogacy are vastly cheaper than they are back home. In fact, out of every 10 couples opting for surrogacy, just 2 to 3 are Indian.
I have a waiting list, for example, for the next 6 months, which is more than 10 couples coming every month, and that grows. Every month, the people whom we have actually interacted with for a long time, for more than a year till now, confirm, okay, now we are more confident, we are now going to come to India.
What makes India irresistible to these couples is the fact that first world medical aid is available at third world prices. Surrogacy here costs an average $15,000 to $20,000. That's almost 1/4 the cost in the US. That's not all. Here, doctors speak in English and the regulatory environment is less stringent.
In the US, there are legal
English and the regulatory environment is less stringent.
In the US, there are legal issues which can create complications in the sense that the surrogate mother can lay claim on the child. As per Indian law, if there is pre-agreement, essentially the genetic parents are the parents of the child. So we didn't want any further complications in addition to the already complex things we have going on in our lives. So that was the reason we decided to come to India.
We were going to go to America first for surrogacy, and the global financial crisis came along. We couldn't afford to go there, so we thought we were never going to be able to have a baby until we got on the internet. We found a number of couples from all over the world who'd been to India for surrogacy, and we thought, well, if they could do it, so could we, and we did.
From foreign nationals to the large domestic market, everything seems to be working for surrogacy. According to the World Health Organization, or WHO, infertility affects about 15% of all married couples in India, which means it is the commonest medical problem in the reproductive age group of 20 to 45. That explains why Indian couples are increasingly looking at surrogacy as the best option.
फैमिली का तो हमारे पे प्रेशर था कि आप एडॉप्ट भी कर लो बच्चा, लेकिन हम लोग का थोड़ा मन कम हो रहा था एडॉप्ट करने में.
There is nothing wrong in adoption, but if you can have children of your own, it will be the best preferred option.
तर ह्यासाठी प्राधान्य दिलेलं कधीही चांगलं.
But it's not all as easy as it sounds. The procedure is a lengthy one and involves 4 parties: the intended couple, the surrogate, an agent and a clinic. While the surrogate and the couple are bound by a legally binding contract, the agent and the clinic play a facilitating role. The agent identifies the surrogate and mediates for her with the clinic. The clinic in turn deals with the intended couple.
The transaction between the doctor and the surrogate directly is not possible. There has to be a third party involved into it. So these people are bringing the surrogates.
In most cases, the surrogate is not genetically involved in the reproduction of the baby. She is required to donate her eggs in rare cases. An Indian surrogate gets paid between 2 to 5 lakh rupees for a single pregnancy and a little more if she is pregnant with twins. And a woman can have only up to 3 pregnancies through surrogacy. During pregnancy, the mother is housed in the clinic's facility or the surrogate home, which provides her food, nutrition, medication and regular health checkups. To ensure that the surrogate does not change her mind, payment is spread across various stages of pregnancy.
Once they select the surrogate will be paid an X amount for which she will then undergo tests. She will undergo sometimes a hysteroscopy, whatever the investigations required to prepare her for surrogacy. Once she is ready and she has been sort of taken into the program, then the IVF is done, the embryos are transplanted inside her. At that point she is paid a certain amount again. Following embryo transfer, she may or may not become pregnant. So once she becomes pregnant, then the next amount is due to her. So we kind of take it step by step, so that it's not like we're exploiting the biological parents, taking a huge sum of money for them, and then she doesn't become pregnant, and too bad you've lost your money.
The surrogate mothers also agree to such milestone payments because, well, they are typically so poor that they have no choice.
There would be a few instances where someone in the family acts as a surrogate. I mean, either a sister or a friend or a relative, but at least around 80 to 90% of surrogates are coming from the lower middle class and who do this only for financial gains.
Probably the socio-economic backgrounds that we are targeting for surrogacy is a slightly lower background where pregnancy is taken for granted. It's not treated as something special and it's like a normal aspect of a woman's life. So probably the women treat it more, like they would not be too hassled by it. So that is one aspect. The other aspect is that in India, probably women already have 2 or 3 children, and then when you're doing a surrogacy, the chance of bonding is a little less.
But as bonding reduces, so does the responsibility of pregnancy. That's what makes the choice of surrogates the toughest part. The Indian Council of Medical Research, or ICMR, lays down clear guidelines on who can be a surrogate. From the doctor's point of view, that is tricky terrain.
I had a patient who were doctors who had come from New Zealand, and very unfortunately it so happened that the surrogate, she didn't conceive, and then we found out to our utter surprise that lady is to many times we had asked, do you have any addiction, any tobacco chewing, all that we had to take a very proper history. But she used to say no. But then ultimately we found out, because we had sent somebody to have a check on her. We need to do all these things, apart from being a good clinician, we need to do all these things, social. So then we found out that early morning she used to put some tobacco in her, on her gums and all that. So we need to really be very, very careful when we choose these surrogates.
Despite these difficulties, India has emerged as a hub for commercial surrogacy. Today there are over 400 assisted reproductive technology or ART clinics that offer this option. Analysts say this number could double in the coming years.
Okay, so surrogacy has given some poor families the means to survival. But there are several legal and ethical issues involved in this business. That story is coming up after the short break. Don't go away.
This show brought to you by Yes Bank. Say yes to growth. Reach beyond with network and application services from Net4. Amrapali Group, developing India.